So if you've been looking at skiing Japan this coming winter and you've booked flights but you're still a bit unsure where to go, and you've been searching through all the different Facebook groups and Reddit forums and all these other things, you probably come across two names. That's Niseko and Hakuba. They're the most well-known places in Japan for skiing. But there is a few other up-and-comers coming on the list now as well, which is Myoko. Nozawa Onsen, Myoko, Madarao, all these sort of different resorts which are gaining a lot of traction and attention. So in this video, I'm going to break down more specifically about Myoko. This is where we own and operate a business. So obviously I'm a little bit biased, but I'm going to try and be unbiased in this video. So if you haven't come across me before, just a little introduction. My name is Neil and we run Escape Myoko, which is a collection of businesses. We have our main offering is accommodation, but now we've sort of grown over the years. Now we also have a small ski school, rentals, and the last 2 years we've operated a pizza bar in Suginohara called Two Pines. So that's just a real basic overview of what we do in Myoko. So this is like more of an insider's guide on how to navigate coming to Myoko and where to ski, where to stay, where to eat, all these different things, which we get a ton of questions. People reaching out to us on the daily almost, especially coming up to winter. Where do we stay? How do I get there? How do I a string of questions. So in this video, I'm going to try and break down some of these questions to help people that are planning their trip to Myoko this coming season. So where is Myoko and why is it different? Myoko is a traditional sort of mountain town in Niigata Prefecture. It's about 3 hours from Tokyo by train or car. It's fairly easy to access. You can catch the Shinkansen from Tokyo to Nagano, and then from Nagano to Myoko Kogen, which all up can take you about 2.5 to 3 hours depending on your times and if you buy an express or these other number of things, but allow about 3 hours and costs you around 10,000 yen just to get to Myoko. It's a lot less developed than Niseko and Hakuba, way less crowded. There's still an ungodly amount of snow. We get on average around 15 meters of snow a season, which makes for a lot of work snow clearing, but also great for you guys coming over to obviously experience the great snow that Japan has. Okay, so when to come and what to expect. Okay, so Myoko doesn't really sort of kick off to around mid-December. That's sort of when the season opens. Generally, they sort of pencil in around December 14th for most of the resorts in Myoko. Sometimes it's a little bit earlier. This year they opened actually December 8th, I think was Sugi, was the first open this year. But if you pencil in sort of December 14th to the 20th, somewhere in that range there, that's when most of the resorts will start opening. Very snow dependent. They don't make any snow in Myoko, unlike other resorts here in Australia and New Zealand, where they make a lot of snow when it gets cold enough. Japan is purely reliant on Mother Nature, so if there's no snow, they're not opening. So Myoko is actually broken down into 4 commercial ski resorts, and then there's also a little club field, let's say, called Seki Onsen, which is a family-owned and operated little small ski resort down the far end. Been operating for, I think, over 100 years now, 105 years or something like that. But let's break down the 4 main commercial resorts. So Akakura Onsen, which is where predominantly most of the town is for Myoko, let's say, where most of the bars and accommodation is. And it's in my opinion, Akakura Onsen is great for beginners. There is a couple of steeper runs, but it is a bit limited for your sort of intermediate to advanced skiers or snowboarders. They do get a lot of snow, but there are a lot of flat sections, which is not ideal for beginner snowboarders as well. Not too bad for beginner skiers, but personally I feel we've had a few lessons up there, and the beginner snowboarders struggle a little bit on the flatter sections, a bit harder to get on their edge to edge. So great for beginner skiers, and like I said, you're close to town, so quite often you can just walk from your accommodation straight up to the ski resort. The beauty of Akakura Onsen is it connects into Akakura Kanko. Now Akakura Kanko, or Akakan, as it sort of runs a dual name, let's say, has some great sort of intermediate to advanced terrain, some great access to the backcountry. Obviously you have to have experience if you're heading out there. Highly recommend going with one of the good operators in town, even ourselves or Myoko Guiding Co. They'll show you the spots and sort of recommend where it is best to go on that day. There's a number of things you've got to watch out for when heading into the backcountry. Especially in Akakura Kanko, there's a lot of what's known as onsen holes. So we've got this thermal activity, which creates sort of like almost a small hole right down to usually ground level. But these can range from 2 to 3, 4, maybe even 5 meters deep at some points, which you can't really see too well as you're going down the fall line, and then all of a sudden you could quite often easily end up within the hole. So definitely be mindful of those. So those are the 2 resorts down that end of town. So if you start coming back the other way, which is where we're more based, down the other end of town, which is all somewhat close, we're only talking 2-3 kilometers of one another, which is great. Easy to sort of navigate all the resorts within Myoko, is Ikinotaira. Now Ikinotaira is more of a beginner to intermediate sort of resort. Great big wide open slopes, nice gentle pitch, generally a lot less busier than say Akakura Onsen. And it is great the day or two after a storm. You've got some excellent tree skiing. Little top tip there. Off the top lift out to the skier's left if you're looking down the mountain. some fantastic trees out there you can sneak into. Great if you're sort of just learning how to ride trees or getting into trees or just trying to, you know, broaden your own skiing ability. Great trees to learn in. Nice gentle pitch, but still enough to get yourself moving without, you know, these crazy sort of steep lines with pillows and all sorts of things that you have more at Sugi. Great place to sort of get your feet wet or experience these sort of tree skiing that Japan's famous for. Now down the far end we have Suginohara. Suginohara is fantastic. It's a toss-up for me between Sugi and Kanko, which is the best resort for more intermediate to advanced terrain. It's a bit of an ongoing debate around our team and then everyone else around town. Sugi is great though. The longest run's like 8.5k, which some said I think it's the longest run in Japan. There's great access to the backcountry from Sugi, especially off the top lift. You can push right up into the crater. Takes about an hour to an hour and a half, depends how fast you're hiking, which gives you great access to the backcountry. Has a great terrain park, a lot of jib features. You're talking around 40-50 different sort of mainly rail features, boxes and what sorts. A few little jumps. The jumps usually aren't the best, but the jibs are great. If you're a jibber, definitely head to Sugi. The jump line at Iki is probably a bit more beginner friendly, beginner to intermediate. Nice, fun, flowy little park. Has usually around a dozen sort of jump features. Nothing crazy big, but great for having a fun session with your mates. Kanko has a great little park as well. So there's a decent, nice scope of jumps there with nice landings. There's probably some of the best jumps around in town, I would almost say, if you're more of a park rat. All have good snow though, especially through that January, February months. There is a season pass that allows you to ski all of them, but if you're only coming for a week, probably not worth getting that. If you're coming off the season, 100% buy the season pass, but it's best just to book day by day. I feel we get people saying, I want to book their skis passes, you know, 6 months out. Look, it's best just to wait till you arrive. You can pre-order some of these later in the season, some like September, October, they do have some early season deals going. You could jump on a couple of those if you want as well. Quite often your accommodation may have discount passes, where you might save yourself 500 yen to 1,000 yen off your day pass. So just a quick overview on costs, a quick breakdown, just so you can sort of run the numbers for your family, how much it's going to cost, how many's in your group and that sort of thing. So like I said earlier, lift passes average from 4,500 up to 7,500, let's say. So like $45 to $75 for a lift pass. Rentals, you're looking anywhere from $50 to $80, depending on what range you're going there on the rentals. Lessons, if you're looking at getting lessons, you can look from anywhere from $120 to $150 or, you know, 12,000 yen to 15,000 yen per hour. Now there's a lot of half day or full day options around this as well, but that's generally what you're looking at on the lessons front. Lunch on the hills, fairly affordable. Like you can buy a lunch from anywhere from 1,000 yen to 2,000 yen. Probably 2,000 is at the top end. You know, just the basic ramens or katsudon or katsukari or something similar to that. Dinner's probably a little bit more expensive, allowed maybe $25 to $40, somewhere in that range. For our pizzas are around 2,500 yen. A lot of other places, ramens and things, probably slightly cheaper. You probably pick up a ramen for 1,500 yen, let's say, so somewhere in that range. Accommodation, this is probably going to be one of your biggest expenses. Accommodation in town, now if you're looking on a per person rate, anywhere from 120 to $200-300 a night, let's say, on the real top end of town. All these charges I've just gone through, this is per person. A lot of people seem to be going down more the Airbnb route now, so they want to book their own place, which is great. We find our Airbnb model books out a lot quicker than the lodge. It is a little bit more expensive, but then you've got your own space, you've got your own kitchen, vehicle, you're good to go, you're a bit more self-sufficient, which a lot of people like these days, especially Myoko. It's great if you have a vehicle to get around, like I mentioned earlier. A little top tip, book your lessons and rentals earlier, especially for January, February. March you can probably wait till you arrive, but January, February, like book your lessons and rentals in well ahead of time. Everything's got booked up well in advance this year. We had to turn away a lot of lessons. We didn't have enough instructors on the ground. This year we're going to take on some more team, so we have more instructors. But yeah, definitely book that in early. Where to stay in Myoko, and you know some things to factor in there depends what you're looking for in your holiday. So Akakura Onsen, or Akakura Village, let's say, is good close access to Akakura Onsen, which then, or like I mentioned earlier, connects into Akakura Kanko. Good access to the bars, small little bars, couple of restaurants. Well, there's majority, that's where the restaurants are in town. Good if you're traveling without a car, and if you're wanting a bit of an après scene, that's where most of it is. Like I said, it's not crazy whistler nightlife or anything like that. So that's Akakura Onsen. Suginohara or Suginohara, a bit more quiet, a bit more chill, great for families that don't really want to be in the thick of it. Great if you have a vehicle, especially if you're staying in an Airbnb. Fantastic, you've got freedom to go all around Myoko, which I highly recommend if you're coming here, especially as a family. There is shuttle buses and things, they are quite expensive. You're looking around 1,000, 1,500 yen each way per person. If you factor that in with a family of 4, it's going to cost you about the same to rent a car. So definitely recommend renting a car 100% must have four-wheel drive. That's a non-negotiable. Four-wheel drive with snow tyres. We get a lot of crew rocking up. Two-wheel drive thinking that they did this back in Australia, they did this back in New Zealand or something. 100% don't do that. Don't be that guy. You're causing drama and chaos on the road. You get half a foot overnight and you'll be buggered. You have to stay at your accommodation. So then you might as well spend that little bit extra and book in a four-wheel drive. So yeah, Iki or Sugi, still fantastic. That's where predominantly most of our accommodation is, in Ikinotaira or Suginohara. Great down that end of town as well. You've still got a few dining out options, not quite as many as in Akakura. And like I said, it's great if you've got your own vehicle. Predominantly most accommodations down that end of town, ourselves included and our friends, we all shuttle people to and from the resorts. Quite often this is complimentary included within your stay, which is a great service to utilise as well. So just one other little top tip, if you are looking at coming out to Japan as well, whether that's Niseko, Hakuba or Myoko or wherever it may be, book your accommodation early. This is super, the earlier the better. This is one thing that will make or break your trip. So get in early, like I say, try and book it in before June, July, August. Same with your rentals and lessons, everything. Try and book it well ahead of time. The thing with Japan now is you can't really wait till last minute. If you wait till November, December, pretty much all the good options around town, both for accommodation and lessons and rentals and everything, are already pretty heavily booked. So you're going to be paying a premium as well. Quite often now, if you're looking out a bit earlier, people may even have early bird deals. Ourselves, we're running a little early bird deal at the moment. Same as Rhythm, same as a lot of different operators. They run these early bird specials, trying to book people in so they know ahead of the season where they're looking, you know, how they can ramp up. We need to take on more crew or get more rentals. They know the demand for the season. So definitely, highly recommend booking early. Yeah, like we're pretty much 80-90% booked for the coming winter and we're only just gone into June. So that's where we're at, and most of our friends are the same around town. A lot of businesses, a lot of the same thing. They're already heavily booked for that following season. Even by the end of the winter, you're already half booked for the next winter. So book well ahead of time. Top tip. And also another top tip is book direct. You're going to save some money, ourselves included. If we're listed on Airbnb and Booking.com and all the other OTAs, but we offset the charge, whatever they charge. So if they charge 10% or 15%, whatever it may be, we put that on top. If you book direct, that's where you're going to find the cheapest price. Okay, most other providers, I imagine, do the same as well. We do it, and I've spoken with other friends; they all do it. So yeah, if you find them on Airbnb or Booking.com, get in touch with them direct. Generally, they'll probably have a website. Shoot them an email. Hey, look, we're coming to say you've got availability. I noticed through Airbnb you might have availability. Just thought it might be cheaper to book direct. I'd say 9 times out of 10, it's going to be cheaper if you book direct. You're going to save yourself maybe 10 to 15% that they would have put on top just to offset what Airbnb charges and fees. Onsens, there's some fantastic onsens around town, especially down in Ikinotaira. We've got some great little ones. Landmark or Alcon Blick Resort and Spa is a great one just in Ikinotaira. Also, Lime Resort has a great onsen. There's a number of good ones in Akakura. Hotel Taiko has a pretty good one with amazing views. Ideally, you don't want to hit these in prime time. Try and get them a bit earlier or a bit later. If you hit around that sort of 5 to 7 mark, same for dinners as well. This prime zone is where you're going to get the most people. Now, I love a good onsen, but I don't love hitting it when it's busy. I don't like standing there shoulder to shoulder with 10 other blokes all just naked, personally. If you're into that thing, hit it at prime time. If you're not, hit it outside of that sort of prime time. So, final thoughts on Myoko. Is it worth it? How does it stack up to Niseko or Hakuba? So, if you're into deep snow, more authentic culture, affordable lift passes, more of a personal, less commercial sort of vibe, then 100% Myoko is worth it. It's great. If you're looking for more of that sort of high-end commercial vibe, then probably it's not really what you're looking for. If you're coming with a solo trip and coming with crew or planning a family trip, Myoko delivers the goods. Powder days are very common. They come in every other day, it seems, or sometimes every day. The food is, classic, good little Japanese little izakayas around. And they're still somewhat affordable compared to other places like Niseko and Hakuba. You're going to be paying double, if not triple, the price for food. There's a lot of supermarkets all close by as well, especially if you've got an Airbnb. Just go down to the supermarket, you can load up. Food is somewhat cheap still in Japan. Inflation hasn't really hit Japan like it has Australia. So you can still $100 gets you a fair bit of food. $100 here gets me a loaf of bread and milk, it seems. So it's great just to go out and dig down there. It's an experience going to the supermarket. All the weird and wonderful things you'll see in there. If you're coming out to Myoko, definitely hit us up. Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to have you guys come stay with us, or if just coming for a pizza and a beer down at Two Pines. Myoko is amazing. You're going to love it. It's such a great spot. It's an exciting time ahead for Myoko. There's big development on the cards and things, so it may change in the next 5 to 10 years. But at the moment, it's still pretty raw and rugged. It's not busy. It's not crazy expensive, unlike Niseko and Hakuba. So yeah, 100%. Hope to see you guys out there.